Today, Amazon held one of the largest single-day hiring events in American history, hoping to make 50,000 job offers in a span of only a few hours. It's another sign of its growing dominance of the retail business. Meanwhile, traditional retailers are in freefall. That shift from brick-and-mortar stores to e-commerce is often seen as a bad trade-off. But what if that's not the case?
The bigger Amazon gets, the more everyone worries about the so-called retail apocalypse, which has already seen 9 retailers go bankrupt this year, and chains like JCPenney's, Macy's, and Sears shut down hundreds of stores. The retail industry employs hundreds of thousands of Americans, many of them with only a high school degree, and e-commerce, by definition, threatens many of those jobs. But what if the death of these traditional storefronts and shopping malls is actually something we should be celebrating? What if the rise of e-commerce has actually left American workers better off? Michael Mandel, an economist at the Progressive Policy Institute, started asking those questions last year, and the answers he's found might surprise you.
Really what's going on is that this has become a job creator, because it turns out that if people are willing to shop online, if they can get the stuff quickly, and getting the stuff quickly means that you have to have fulfillment centers located near every large city. Since the peak of the last business cycle in December 2007, the number of total e-commerce jobs has risen by about 400,000, much more than the 140,000 jobs that have been lost in brick-and-mortar retail.
These jobs, however many of them there might be, are traditionally thought of as poor-paying temporary gigs with awful working conditions. The gigs are tougher and tend to be more physically demanding. But Mandel finds that e-commerce jobs pay 31% more on average than their brick-and-mortar retail counterparts. And unlike traditional retail, are usually full-time positions with benefits.
This is a case where technology is creating jobs for people with a high school education that pay decent wages for their area. Honestly, I view this as a potential harbinger of economic spring, that in fact it turns out that technology economy can produce jobs for people who are not software developers. The only people it's not good news for is the shopping mall owners who find themselves in possession of real estate that may not be worth as much as it was before.
It's hard to argue with Mandel on a day when Amazon is ready to hire 50,000 new workers. But he may be underestimating the longer-term impacts of automation. E-commerce is built on productivity, and humans will never be as productive as robots. They're also much easier to replace when they're working out of sight in a warehouse, instead of at the front of a store.